Hello friends, welcome to my channel, a channel for learning simple coding. If you find this video to be helpful, please like, share and subscribe my channel. In this video, we are going to learn how we can handle events in React. So first of all, I am taking example of functional component. So in functional component, you see I have a counter variable. Here I am just displaying a property of counter, and here I have an increment and decrement button. And if you see, this is the output, and I'm using this in an index like this. So I have given the overview of this in my previous video also. So now in my counter, we want to handle the event handling. So for that, what I have to do, I have to create an event. Remember that for creating an event here, we have to use a camel notation on click. So C should be capital, and here we have to use JSX expressional tag, and here we can give the function name, or you can say event handler name that will handle the event. So I say handle increment like this. Remember that do not use here this bracket. This is a calling of function, this is not an event. I will show you what is the meaning of this. Now in JavaScript we can create function inside a function. So here I am creating a one more function, and I say handle increment, and in this function I say count plus plus, and I display this in console.log, and I say count like this, and I save it. Remember that here I am not using a functional bracket here first of all, and I am using this event handling in the functional component. So see the output here. If we are inspect this code here and open a console, and you will see that if I click here, this I have a 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. You see we have this kind of value, means the count is incrementing and my event is working, but this value is not coming here. Remember that because in React it is not possible to update the state of this variable, because this functional component, this is functional component. By default these functional components or functions are stateless. To make them stateful, we have to use a concept of hook. Remember this hook. So I will tell you how you can use hook for updating a state of this stateless functional components, or how you can do this in future. But here we are learning how we can handle events. Remember that we create this event and we function and we pass here, and if I use this bracket of function bracket, remember then, and we see what are the changes is coming. You see that it is coming increment 1, only one time is automatically increment, and if I click here, you see there is no response here. I just refresh it again console, you see 1 2, because 2 time automatically this function call automatically, and it changed the value of count to 2 time. But now if I click, it would not respond because it's a function call, it is not an event. Remember this, it is not a event. So to make this event handler, we have to remove this functions brackets parenthesis, and then we have to refresh again, and now you see if I click on this, now we are getting the value of count 1 2 3 4 5, but this value is not reflecting here. That is the different process to reflect the value. So you have seen that how we can handle the events here in functional component. So I will take this functional component also when I will use hooks in future video. Now we are just changed to class component, which we made in the last video also. So in index I change it to counter and I just refresh it, and if you will see this, the output is changed. We have developed this counter with the help of class. In previous video we have set also how we can dynamically change the class here and how we can dynamically change the expressions here. We have read all these things, we have learned all these things in the past video. Here we are going to learn how we can handle events in class also. So again I just create here function like on increment and on decrement. So on click and I say here, so in parenthesis block I write handle increment. Remember, do not add the function bracket here parenthesis, otherwise it will become the function calling, it would not be called as a event handler. So again we create a function, so we have handle and here I say log console dot log and I show you that it is increment event. Okay, and save it. So we have an error not defined, so we have to use this block for calling this. Remember, because we are in a class component, so always we have to use this to call the event. So this is the one change in the counter with the functional components. We are not using this here, but inside a counter, because it's a class component. See, this is a class component, so under this we have to use this dot handle increment. And similarly we can create decrement also, but first of all we see the output here. I just refresh it, go to console, click here, you see it is increment event, it's an increment event, and we having the increment event many times whenever we click on this. I click on decrement, there is no response because we are not handling any event. Similarly we can do for decrement also. So I just copy and paste and I say handle decrement. Handle decrement, save this, and we have to create this function also. So for that I just copy this and I paste this and I say this is decrement, like this, save it and try to check decrement also. You see decrement is also working properly. That means this event handling is working properly without any problem. So remember that we have handled the event here, no problem at all, and we have this button also. And remember, do not use like this because it would be a function call, it would not be event handling. So remember this. Now the process is, we have a counter variable here and we want to increment and decrement the value of this counter. For that, what I need to access this counter variable here. So for that, what I do, I say for increment purpose, this dot state dot count plus plus, remember, and here we want to call this. So I say this dot state dot count, the value I want to print here. Similarly I want to print this value here also and I want to make decrement this dot state dot count minus minus. Remember this? We save it, and you see the warning is coming. I just explain you why this warning is coming. You see this, and we try to click on this event and we will have an error. You see we have an error. So what is the error? We have to understand this. Cannot read property of undefined reading state. Remember that we have properly defined this, and if I am not using these function, if I don't use this line, means if I don't use these function, I don't call, if I just make comment of these functions, remember that if I make comment of these line and I just see, refresh it, there is no error at all in this program and we are comfortably executing. But if I enable this value here for increment purpose, I save it and I try to run it, so it say error. We cannot read the property of this state because the fundamental reason behind this, that we are not able to access this keyword here in this function. Remember this, we are not able to access this. Why? Because this event is not bind. Remember, this is not bind, because here I am passing a reference of a method. This is not a method calling, it's a reference of method. Here I am using it this, and I am using it this inside this also. So inside this block, the meaning of this is belong to inside this. This does not belong to the instance of this class. That means this dot state is nothing, and with the help of this keyword, it is searching inside this function. This function, it is searching this state property, state object, but this object is not available within these brackets. That is a problem. So we have a two solution of this problem. That means we have to bind this object to this function, otherwise we have to use arrow functions. So we will see in the next video how we can bind this keyword and how we can run this code without event binding, how we can use arrow function to help us for this situation. So we see all these things in the next video. In this video, remember that we have a function and we are calling this function without parenthesis, because with parenthesis is a calling of function, and without parenthesis we are just passing a address of this function, the reference of this function, and we are just calling a event handler. This is working as a event. So this is the must to remember. So we have learned how to handle event in functional component and how to handle event in state in class component. The problem in functional component that is a stateless. To make it stateful, we have to use hook. So I will explain in next videos what is the meaning of hook. That is little bit complicated topic. And here in class components, we are not able to update the value of this without the set state function. So we will see in future video also how we can update this count value. But before that, we have to access this state count property within this event, within this function. So how we can access this state within this method or event, that is called event binding. So we see in next video what is the concept of event binding and how we can solve this situation which we are facing in this video. I think you learned something from this video. If you really learn anything from this video, please like, share and subscribe my channel. Thank you for watching this video.